Hey everyone, this is week 3 or November 29th, um, 2 times 8 of reality check. And here's the thing about that number 8, by the way, in the Jewish tradition, 8 is the number of prosperity and good luck. And I was always taught growing up we always got gifts in terms of 8. So it was $8 or $16 or $32 or $64. So 8 was a very, very, very it was a mitzvah, a good deed and a good blessing, that number. So, yeah. But this is reality check. This is where um, members of an open door get together with the intention to experience um, the pointings that are held within Helen Hamilton's book, Reality Check. And we're taking it one word at a time. I do have about a 9. Oh, wait a minute, changed a couple of times. This is my computer 9. Yeah, it's an 8 minute. It's an 8 minute. I just realized that. I have an 8 minute video with Helen. We've been getting into the habit of listening to Helen, and then I have a guesstimate about where we ended up in chapter 2 last week, and we will take it at whatever speed um, we are guided to go in. I could tell you that I sat to read some of it this morning, and the energy waves were just flowing, and I could have stayed with one paragraph. So there you have it. Does anyone wish to say anything at all before we listen to Helen? Love us very much. Very, 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 very grateful for your presence. Here we go.
Hello, Helen.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you, thank you.
Very good. Yeah, I wanted to say thank you for, it's a blessing to get in touch with you, which is my higher self, kind of my illuminated self, realized being. And it's funny because the questions I had waiting in row kind of got answered. So it's amazing. Even the last one with the desire coming up, there's this burning desire for dissolving in the truth or in the being that I am. Even that you enlightened kind of or shed light on it. And I kindly ask you to still maybe help me to get more established and absolutely grounded in that truth that I am.
Absolutely. Let's look and see what you are then. Let's explore. What are you? What do you find when you look for yourself?
Yes.
Are you an object or someone?
No, not really.
Not really? Or not at all?
Not, yeah. Seemingly there's a person, but the essence, no, is no person.
So seemingly, even for me now, it seems like there's someone sitting here using this body to talk, and it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's just a seems to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there any difference then between you and me? The big question. Take your time. Whatever it is that you are, is it any different to what I am?
No. No, because I am the only one here, kind of, the only being. Like there's only being, consciousness or presence, life. formless awareness.
So do you
Absolutely.
do you then need to get more established and grounded in this?
No.
Your mind is going to disagree with that, of course.
Yes, and yeah, the mind. Still, there's attraction to the mind, you know, I guess.
It's okay. It's okay. There might be for some time. Just fueling the attraction to what is real. That's all we're really doing in satsang. We're just kind of increasing that devotion to what is real.
Yeah.
And we do that just by gently seeing the limitations of the mind.
Yes.
Mind might always disagree with us here, that there's nothing else for you to do.
Yes. It's always suffering, you know, and always trying to get something, and it's really never satisfied, and it's an endless race. It's very exhausting for the mind, for the person, for seemingly person.
But let's check again who you really are. Is it affected by mind?
No.
Ever? Is it ever affected by anything?
No.
Does
Never.
it, this presence, this formless awareness, whatever we're going to call it, does it need to get rid of the mind?
No.
What is its to-do list for today, awareness?
Huh?
What does it have a to-do list, awareness? Things it needs to get done
No,
today.
it's perfect. It's nothing to do. No.
So there's just a lingering thought being believed that the mind is affecting you.
Yes.
And that comes from this lingering sense that I am a something, an object.
Yes.
So for me, I had to just look again and again. There's nothing substantial about me at all. The body could be destroyed, thoughts could be destroyed, the universe could be destroyed, and I remain always as I am.
Yes.
When I first would see that, there was still a little doubt. I felt like I wasn't fully convinced.
Yeah.
Well, at first there was a lot of doubt.
Yes.
As I kept on seeing it, that doubt was just chipping away, and it was going down from 99% doubt to 1%. Then some point it was 0. There's just absolute conviction.
So
Just
it's about dissolving the doubt, huh? Kind of.
Just seeing that whatever doubt mind gives to you, whatever mind says to you, does it apply to this infinite nothingness?
Okay.
Yeah. Because we're so used to listening to mind and going, yeah, that's I'll take that on. And we just have to listen to what's presented to us and see if that's true for who you really are. It feels very true for who we thought we were.
Yes.
So even this sense that I need to get more established in it.
Yeah, it's illusion.
It's very fine illusion, very it was very convincing for me, because you look at the sages and they were utterly peaceful, blissful, totally non-attached, and yet totally in love with all of creation.
Yeah.
And we look at that and we go, I don't feel like that right now. There must be more work for me to do.
Yes.
But maybe because I feel there's more work for me to do, I don't feel like that.
Yes. Yeah.
So just standing in yourself and listening to what mind says, but going, does that apply to me? Does that apply to me?
Oh, wow.
Nope, 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 nope.
Yeah, nope. Okay.
It comes down to just this, once you have seen who you are, making a stand as that, meaning we'll listen to mind, we'll buy its problems, but as soon as we remember, we go, wait a minute, before I go running off trying to fix that, is it real for me?
Wow.
And when you're really, really determined to stand there as yourself, you can just kind of look at mind like a flip book. Wow, look at all these problems I could have, flicking through the pages of 100 million spiritual problems that I could have.
Yes. Okay.
Mind won't like the answer because it's too simple. And it'll say, it's not going to fix the problems we have, you know?
Oh, wow.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
It's too simple. Would any like to share anything before I pull up the screen share and invite somebody to begin reading? Alka.
It was very interesting to listen to that because I totally identified with when she said to him, you feel you need to still establish yourself. That's where I am at. I think I know all this intellectually, but now I have to manifest it. And interesting that she pointed it out as another subtle mind thing to do. I shall watch out for that.
Look for the one who.
Yeah, look, yeah, put that as a mind game.
Yeah, I saw your hand, Pat. Richard first and then Pat, if that works, yeah? Go for it, Richard.
Morning, everyone. I love that. I've where I'm at right now. I'm trying to figure out as a dream figure in the dream. In order to survive in this environment as a dream figure, I have to have meaning and purpose. And so when I apply the teachings like Helen was talking about in that video and in the book, my immediate question is, how do I manifest that in the world that I'm experiencing, which is illusory and not real? So what is my meaning? What is my purpose as a dream figure? And I'm not sure whether that's resistance to or acceptance of the real self. And so the way I'm dealing with that issue right now is my function, my meaning, and my purpose as a dream figure is to manifest the truth of what I am in reality, which is the unconditional love. So my focus now is on how do I manifest this infinite unconditional love in the dream. So when I hear teachings like she was talking about, I wonder sometimes, have I gone beyond the teaching of just being or isness to actually manifesting the isness that I am in truth in the world of illusion? So I don't know what I'm doing, but it seems to be working for me. I'm happy, joyous, and free. So, and more I value less the world, the happier I seem to be. But I'm still loving everything and everyone and everything. So that's all I wanted to share. So some confusion still exists.
The only thing I wanted to say in response to that is that all of the teachers that I love, they light up for me how valuable it is to just live in the question. And that's what I heard. I'm wondering just the cool thing about living in that question, right? In getting really comfortable with the confusion, living in the question sounds perfect to me. Hey, Pat.
Good morning and happy day after Thanksgiving. I love this. I wrote it down. She said, does that apply to me? And 100 million spiritual problems I could have. So, like I wake up in the middle of the night and my mind starts going rada-da-da-da about whatever's going on. And then, but this has worked really wonders for me now. And it's like, nothing's happening here. Nothing is actually happening here. That's like, does this apply to me? No, it doesn't, because nothing is really happening. And I don't know if I ever told you about this dream I had where I woke up, where I dreamt that I woke up and walked to my front door, which has a glass panel, and there was a kneeling figure, kneeling like yoga kneeling, not like Christian kneeling, and there was this vortex of light that was coming in through the window, through the glass, and it was through the woman and out the door, and I screamed and I woke up screaming because I'm afraid of the fact that that's me. I think that is this is what she was going, do you really need to be more you? Do you need to develop who you are? You are who you are. And it's just the whatever it is that's fighting against that or afraid of that. The mind, I guess, doesn't want to admit that there's nothing happening here and that's who I am.
Gary writes, according to Tony Parsons, as far as I understand his sharings, there is no meaning, there is no purpose. And I also, because it feels like it fits, and then unless somebody else wants to share, I'll pull up the book. This is a quote from the Vasista Yoga that colored some of my contemplation this morning. It reads, he who rests in what is indicated by the all or the infinite or fullness does not desire anything. When the physical body is as unreal as the body seen in a dream, what will the wise man desire for its sake? And I was pulled to that quote while I was listening to Richard share. So, who is inspired to begin the reading? Pull this up.
I'll begin.
All right, let me.
So I think what we left off on page 8, and what I'd like to do is
8.
page 8, and okay, yes, what I'd like to do is start with these questions here, because where we left off was these questions may seem difficult to answer at first, but we left off with, are you tangible or intangible? Are you over here or over there? Do you have any shape or color? Where exactly are you? Are you changing, growing, becoming here as this vastness? What time is it in this vastness? How far do you reach? And where do you end? Do you end at all? When did this vastness that you are appear? When will it disappear? Were you born as this? When did you start? Is there you and another person here? Where do you stop? And the next person and the person next to you start? These questions may seem difficult to answer at first, but if you will continue to ask them, you will soon find you begin to make some breakthroughs. As you go about your daily life, you may notice that everything seems different now that you have seen what you really are. Our whole lives as human beings are based on the assumption that we are a separate person, a someone who is moving around in time and space and living out a life for 70, 80, or 90 years before we leave this planet. It can be quite a shock to realize that is not so. Before we have fully understood what it means to be formless, it may seem that life out here feels pointless and insignificant. You may find yourself wondering, what use is all this world then? What is the reason for my existence if I am not what I thought I am? If such feelings arise, you can know that it is only a temporary phase of adjustment to your new way of perceiving yourself, and that once you fully realize what you are, you will know the answer to these questions. As human beings, we are taught to value the familiar, the known, and the safe thoughts. And when we suddenly find what we know to be challenged, we can feel insecure for a time. It may help to realize that what we thought we knew about ourselves was never actually true, but we have been fooled into thinking so. You are only coming to see how it has always been. It is safest to work from direct experience of what you can prove inside yourself, rather than base your life on assumptions that have never been questioned until now. Take some time to consider the questions listed in this chapter. Try to find an answer, but do not worry if you cannot answer them all at this point. The answers will reveal themselves as you progress to the next chapters. Your understanding of what you are, what reality is, will deepen as you continue to read. To continue to progress to the deeper stages of enlightenment, we must be willing to realize that what we have called our life has been based on assumptions that are not true. We have based our whole existence on the idea that I am so-and-so, a human being living in the world with family, friends, relationships, a job, and an endpoint. For some people, it will take a while to come to terms with the fact that none of this has been true. You were never limited, lost, or separate from everything and everyone. Some people that read this will immediately be unable to tolerate any lies within themselves about their origin and the nature of their existence. And they will be driven by an urge to find out the whole truth and live as and from that truth. Others that read this will face too much resistance from their old and familiar ways of thinking about themselves, and so may stop reading this, lose the book somehow, or get distracted until a much later time. Any of these options is fine, for once the truth has been revealed to you, it is only a matter of time before the want arises in you to fully comprehend what you are and what all this world is. This desire will become stronger until it seems to be the only thing that matters. I just want to say one thing about the Tony Parsons quote that was posted, that there's no meaning. And I think I'm coming to realize that that is true at certain levels of understanding. So at the first level of understanding, to say that there's no meaning is a bit of a shock. And it's hurtful to the ego. It's very painful. And that's just fine. That's where you might put the book down. But it's also where the part of the mind that wants peace really can attach to that truth. Because what it also says is there's no meaning in the things that hurt me. There's no meaning in the things that I attach to that bring me only suffering. And that takes us to really questioning moment by moment, oh, I'm feeling the suffering now. Is there really any meaning in this? And then with each of these questions or these inquiries, we go deeper and deeper and deeper. And when we get to the understanding that actually I'm not a person, and there really isn't any meaning for any of this in reference to me as a person, or anyone that I look at that's separate to me, that thinks they're a person, I let go to another level. And that's as far as I want to go. Thank you.
Ron has got her hand up.
Morning, everyone. I love this book. Those questions on page 7 and 8, I tagged it because that would just be an opportunity for a beautiful meditation to roll those questions off very slowly over 5 or 10 minutes and just see what the direct experience is. Because there's an understanding that I could look at those questions right now and there would be an experience. And then a week from now, I could do it again. And it might not be exactly the same at all, but will definitely enhance this in the dissolving of that belief that I am a person. I don't beat myself up anymore when I get caught up in the world. And I don't mean being disturbed by it. I mean more like when I forget to acknowledge presence for an hour or so, right? Which is so much different for me. When the idea was first presented to this one, that I am not who I think I am. I was of that camp that once the truth was revealed, there was a want that really arose here. I wanted to know more. I wanted to start hanging out with other people that knew about this. I wanted to read things that were about this. And I got very excited. And I tried in the world to share on a human level about this with one of my friends. And we were talking about friendships before the recording went on. And I don't know what anything is for, but seemingly once I tried to explain what I was finding, the resistance was so thick that here we are, you know, time, whatever, 4 years later, and that friendship has dissolved. And it's brought up a lot of feelings, and I'm grateful for the work to heal what's going on inside of me, because it's not them. And I know that. And so there's been so much healing going on, and looking at the ways of being and expectations of friends and all that. So I say that to say that at the same time, 2 of my other friends reached out to me and said, there's something different. What are you doing? One of those friends is here today. And what that did was it deepened a relationship with those seeming other individuals. And I'm learning by leaps and bounds by doing this with them and us sharing our journey through this. So although there's been a sense of loss, there's been a sense of great love and gain. There's been an opening. There's been a seeing how much this one has limited herself in terms of defining friendship and what that means. And so if this is what is the result of poking holes in an ego that thinks I'm a body with a name and a story and a blah, 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 bring it on. Bring it on. There is so much more love here than there was 4 years ago. I let it, it's being let in. It's being given out. And so I just felt like I wanted to share that with the group this morning. My definitions of everything are changing everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard.
I think as most people know, I love Tony Parsons. I'll start with that. I realize that as a real self, there is no meaning and there is no purpose. And that's why I said when I taught it originally, as a dream figure, right? What is my experience? My experience is as a dream figure, as a body mind. That is my experience. So, in that experience as a body mind, since that's all illusory, the question I always ask is, in the dream, what is the purpose and meaning of Richard? Because I'm using this avatar to manifest the truth of what Tony Parsons talked about, the love, unconditional love that I am in truth. So I don't experience 24/7 being what I am in truth. What I experience 24/7 when I'm not asleep is a separate self, a body mind that's trying to manifest the love that it really is. So that's why I constantly ask the question for me. I mean, this is my path. I recognize that. And the more I do this, and the more I ask this question of myself, the happier I am, the more free I am, the limitless I am, and within the dream. So it seems to be working. For me, it's a path. But it gives me meaning. I'm not a person who sits in a Buddha position 24/7, being in isness. I'm walking through the world. I'm interfacing with other body mind. I'm in groups like this where we're all manifesting what we are in truth. differently because our conditioning is different. But we all love each other and we all realize we're all one, but we're all different. And that's a lovely thing. The diversity on this planet and this existence is beautiful. I mean, the amount of diversity just blows my mind when you talk about what is living and what is not living and experiencing what is living. So I just wanted to clarify that. Love you all.
There's some things, I guess, that are going to be said through me before I screen share and we start chapter 3. And it's amazing. One of the things in this inquiry, in this quiet space that I find myself is I'm watching something here try to script or teach separate from, and it's also very interesting. So one of the things perhaps the only thing I'm going to share right now is the curiosity of how quickly Amy read, like, more just now than we have read in the first 2 weeks. You know, a lot was in those words, and not one of us interrupted her, and she didn't stop. We went through those inquiry questions, even with Amy's slow cadence. None of us stopped and said, "Hey, should we look?" And I find that very, very interesting. Like, I didn't stop it. None of us, no individual being stopped it. And as I was sitting there watching this, I recognized that that Helen wrote 2 potential. She stated that either this is going to pull you in and all you're going to want is the truth, to the point where you're going to keep looking and doing the inquiry until, essentially, to use like Richard's language, that dream character just dissolves and we get to be who we are without that interference. Or she said you're going to lose the book. There's an in-between state, which I find this character in, and which sort of lit up as I became aware of the fact that none of us said, "Hey, let's look." We just read through this whole chapter, and that's intellectualizing the practice, right? We get to talk about how valuable this practice is. We get to talk about how much we love Helen and her teaching, and we literally keep it in the intellect. And I've heard so many people say this, and yet it's here. There ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it, right? Because we're still in that space of marinating in the teaching, and something here needs to marinate in the teaching. And it's, for me, I'm saying it out loud for Cindy, it's not the same as looking. And at some point, it becomes important to stop talking about it and start looking. Maybe, I don't know. Sandra. I saw it. I didn't see it go down. I just saw it go up.
I didn't take it. Yeah, it's I was thinking the same thing as we were reading through the questions. I mean, obviously I know the right answer. You know, I know the right answer. I've studied this stuff, but that's not what the point of the question is. It's to actually experience the answer, which comes as an experience that often has no words. So what I wanted to add to what you were saying, it's yes, and I have found increasingly that I can be having an intellectual understanding and an experience at the same time. And it often happens in these meetings, or it could happen while I'm sitting alone with this book, because I did sit alone with these questions for about a week. And I'm still sitting alone with I Walk with God in Perfect Holiness. I mean, I loved that so much, it stayed with me all week. But it can be at the same time, it's become more and more fully integrated as one. If that makes sense. It's not like it's two separate things. It's one. But it takes an orientation. That's the only word I can come up with. A different orientation. An intention that as I sit down to read this book or to listen to each of you, that while I'm hearing the words, that I actually hear and see much more than the words. Does anybody else do that? I mean, it's like, yeah, it's.
I'm having a visceral physical experience in this meeting pretty much since before I opened my mouth.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why when you said it's okay, because it is. It just is. And as far as the word meaning, I wrestled with that for a long time. The mind wrestled with it. I didn't. The mind wrestled with that. And then one day, very quietly, it just came in that, of course, there's a meaning. I mean, maybe with a different definition, just as Amy put in the chat. It's not like I have a goal I have to get to. That's not meaning. The meaning is that came to me is this isn't just for you. And that gave me my meaning. That gave me the purpose. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I do speak, Rana, as you speak, and I get rejected, but I can't help it. There isn't like I sit and I think, oh, that today I'm going to speak words that tell the truth to so-and-so. No, it just happens. It kind of just comes out. And I'm almost surprised by it. Like, oh, she decided to say that at this moment. And, or maybe she didn't decide, maybe it just happened. So it's very fluid. But there isn't, it's not like there's a total absence of purpose in meaning. Like I've never gotten there. I've only gotten the opposite. Love itself has meaning. Love is meaning to me. Unless I'm getting something wrong, which is always possible.
There is an idea that's arising, and so I'm just going to share it. Do with it as you will. And it really came up, you know, when Sandra was talking about still sitting with, you know, I walk with God in perfect holiness, or who walks with me. And by the way, on Monday, I didn't send out the email, but seems appropriate. The lesson that we're going to highlight in Where Rubber Meets the Road is love is the way I walk in gratitude. Seems appropriate for this time of year. So we'll see what arises from that. The idea is, you know, and the idea of creating a meditation and sitting with it 10 minutes once a week is phenomenal. And how about if each who is inspired picks either one of these questions or something else, like who walks with me, Barbie, since that was yours, right? And bring it into every interaction with another. Just set the intention that for this coming week, and I already know, like, what I'm guided to look, you know, where do I begin and another ends? This is what's lighting up for me. So every time I am in, and Alka knows that's actually that's my dyad. My dyad instruction is tell me who another is. So so for me, moving forward until we meet again next Friday, when as often as I remember, and I'm setting the intention to remember every time I connect with another in my thought, or when I'm holding the cat, or I'm in conversation, or I'm sitting listening to somebody sharing a meeting, the inquiry, I'm setting the intention to have the inquiry arise. Where do I end and this other begin? You know, where is the boundary? And I'm going to allow myself to look for something that the intellect will tell me I can't find. The intellect right away says, well, you're not going to find it. Except that the experience continues to be of me somehow being affected by another, right? So the intellect is continually telling me there's only one, there is no boundary. Why bother looking? You're not going to find it. And yet the dream character is continually having an experience that is being victimized by or affected by another. So I'm going to set the intention to remember often to look for that boundary between now and next week, and to the point of being able to let you know how that experience arises. And the invitation is for each of us to look at these questions and choose one and play with it as you walk about in the world between now and next Friday. What do you think, Amy? And are you going to read what you wrote here too, or there's an invitation?
Oh, I could. I could elaborate on it. I want to just go back to Tony Parsons. I was reading him last night, and there was a question in that really seemed relevant to me, and it was this person said, I completely understand that I am the invisible infinite. I get that there's no boundaries. I understand that everything that arises is what I am, but I still don't feel the love. And that was a really important question for me. And the way that Tony Parsons answered it was really, it was a little bit obtuse, but it was really good. And I'm not going to answer that question. I just want to throw the question, I want to throw the observation out there. And then it comes back to the question of meaning. The dream figure has no meaning. I don't really give a flying rat's ass about the dream character. I don't really care. It's just an experience. And this is where I go back to when I realize that I am everything. I'm you, I am the dog, I'm the cat, I'm the table. It's all arising within this infinite, intimate awareness that never was born and never dies. And that the meaning for me comes from the urge to gradually increase my awareness of everything I am. And that's the fulfillment for me. It's like, how much can I be today? It's not so much a question of, and it is actually, it's a great, where do I end and the other begin? That's a really good question. That's a great experience. But it's like, how much can I end time for my little self and yet still be here and find that this experience is, wow, you know, it's all me. And so it's just this increasing fulfillment. So meaning only has relationship at some level, meaning only has relationship between things, right? If there are no things and I am everything, there's no meaning in any of these things. It's just me, my mind making relationships between them that don't really exist. So for me, the meaning is increasing. This is just where I am on my journey. It's increasingly, wow, how much of everything here can I just simultaneously be aware of as this experience that is being had right now. And that's kind of where I am. Thank you for letting me explain it. I really appreciate it.
Carrie's asking if what you were reading was that book, which I own, but haven't opened up yet. on
Let me,
our list.
I will take the next, I'll go and find it, Carrie, and then
But is it, it's that book, I mean, you showed
Yes,
us a
it's in the
book.
book. It's
That's
in the
it, she
book.
already ordered it, I have it, so
Okay,
that's all she wanted, is it in the book?
it's in the book. Yeah, it's in the
Thank
book. And I sent Cindy, you and Rana an Angelo DeLullo video that's about 18 minutes long. If you two if you look at it, I think it directly pertains to today's discussion. And I'll send it to Sandra and Richard if I have your, and Barbara. Maybe you could just send it out, Cindy. It's up to you. Put it on the website.
I will, I know Kendall sent us a link to a Michael Singer video. The only email I answered in the last 2 days is Barbie's.
Okay. You don't
So
have to
the other
answer.
ones I know that they came through, but I didn't look at them, but I did send Barbie a link to Monday's video.
Okay.
The rest I will be looking at the next day or so.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. So this relates to what you both were just talking about, and I'm doing the Avita Yoga on YouTube. It's Jeff has put up. He's adding every day. I think he's up to lesson 119 or 20 or something. And I've done the lessons, I don't know, 20 years, go round and round and round, and it's doing it with the yoga has increased my, understanding of what the lessons mean. And the one that he did the other day was, my thoughts are images that I have made. And we think it's real because it's images. And we made these images and we say these images exist in reality outside of me. But they're just my thoughts. And the other thing that connects with that is that if you are thinking, I don't even know if I have to qualify that at all, but for the most part, we're preoccupied with the past, and all of our thoughts are about the past. And so, in fact, because the past doesn't exist, our minds are blank. And so that, all this very busyness that's going on, creating this entire universe and all this stuff in it that doesn't really exist. And there is no inside and outside. There's nothing that's outside. It's all my thoughts making images and then me thinking that's reality. And yeah, we're pretty busy doing stuff to keep us away from who we actually are. I really recommend doing this yoga. It's been just incredible experience for me.
I think I will probably give Jeff a call and see how he may want to participate. I am an Avita Yoga certified instructor / and Linda Yamin is too. And actually Linda Yamin is part of a group of 30 or 40 people that are studying very intimately with Helen Hamilton. So I also invited Linda to come into Reality Check, and I expect her to show up sometime during December as we grow. But Jeff and I are friends. And so Jeff is a pure Course in Miracles student, except that he also is a yoga instructor and created Avita Yoga. So, but I'm going to call him and make sure he knows about what we're doing here and see if we can't do something with his work in live. Because I know what he's done with the lessons was part of his program. I think they're probably all pre-records. that he's now putting on YouTube, maybe. And we've taken 55 minutes, so I imagine we're not going to read unless, shall we read these questions into the space before we end? And anyone inspired to do that, or would you like me to do it? All right, I'll do it. So if you want to just sit and allow these questions to drop into your sense of self. Are you tangible or intangible? Are you over here with me? Or are you over there? Or I see you. Are you over here? Or are you over there? Where exactly are you? Do you have any shape or color, direct experience? Are you changing, growing, becoming? Here is this vastness. What time is it in the vastness? How far do you reach? Where do you end? Do you end? Can you find your end? When did this vastness that you are appear? When will it disappear? Were you born as this? When did you start? Is there a you and another person here? Where do you stop and the person next to you start? Where do you receive this voice? At what point does Cindy speaking become you receiving? At what point does this become Cindy's? Yeah, Rana.
It's like the glass of water. At what point does the glass of water become me?
When does this go from being, well, it's dandelion tea in a glass to just me?
Awesome. Yeah, because it seems like you're over there, but I'm hearing it right here.
Where's the boundary?
I'm going with where exactly am I? Good stuff.
Any final words? I love us. Very, very grateful. Stop this thing.